There we go. Okay, so before I hand over to Ashley, I would just like to go through just a few notices. I'm going to do it now rather than the end because of the recording. So hello everyone on YouTube. How you doing? And I'll just let in a couple more people. There we go. So the very first thing I wanted to mention is that, as you might know, Osmic is run by volunteers. The talks and the ceremonies and the workshops that we host are gifts to us, all freely given by our wonderful speakers, such as Ashley. Thank you, Ashley. So we in turn offer this freely to you, in the belief that finance should never be a barrier to the community or to spiritual fulfillment. So you are welcome here just as you are. Should you wish to offer us a free will donation just to help with our running costs, I will post the link in the chat very shortly. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, the link will be down in the description. So in October, we have a very busy month, which I'm hugely excited about. There's been a lot of work go into this, and many thanks to the new ministers, some of which I can see here. Thank you very much. You know who you are. So just very, very quickly. Oh, sorry, there is someone in the waiting room. Just letting them in. Thank you for that, Linda. Yeah, so very quickly. Next Tuesday is our sharing circle, which is going to be led by Helen. Give us a, well, Helen can't give us a wave because she's bright white at the moment, apparently. But it will be led by Helen.
I'm very shiny today. Sorry about this, but my camera's not working. Hope to get it fixed again by next week.
Thanks, Helen. The talks that we have one called One River, Many Wells, which is an interfaith talk by the Reverend Jenny Miller. We have a talk from Jean Francis, thank you, Jean, which will be family-led funerals, and the sharing circle at the end of next month will be with Karen Ankbraun, who I'm not sure whether we have a Karen with us at the moment. No, I don't think we do. So just keep an eye out on your emails. It'll be the start of next month. It'll have all the details, or you can visit the events page on our website, because I'm keeping that up to date now. Oh. Right, so if you have any questions, please just, if you're in the Zoom chat now, feel free to message me personally, or if you're on Zoom, if you could email onespiritministersinconnection@gmail.com. Okay, so, oh, one more person. Apologies. There we go. So that is plenty enough from me. So it is with the greatest of reverence that I welcome the Reverend Ashley Oliver, and thank you so deeply for your gift to us this evening. Thank you.
So welcome. Welcome everybody. It's amazing to see you all here, and thank you for joining. As the light, certainly in Dorset, where I'm hailing from, is starting to drop, it's starting to get a little bit darker. I can see a couple of people with nice jumpers and scarves on getting cozy. The purpose of this evening is to have an hour of time together where we can do a little bit of work to celebrate the autumn equinox, and that balance of light and dark, which is kind of coming into being at the moment. And I always find this time of year really, 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 really welcome. After all of the exuberance of the summer and high energy and lots of socializing, actually, I really welcome the opportunity to come and be in that quiet and stillness and just reflect. So it's worth pointing out that I have asked that you bring paper and a pen with you, so that if you haven't, you can kind of scurry off and go and get that just while we're opening up, because there's going to be some questions, some journaling questions and prompts at a point of this evening. I'm very conscious that this is being recorded, so the plan for this evening is that we will do that sharing, if you wish to do that, after the recording has stopped, so that we can be held in kind of respectful confidentiality for that. But it's worth just pointing out that if at any time you want to turn your cameras off, take a moment, collect yourself, because this is really, really important work, and I appreciate everybody's in a different place with that journey of kind of self-work, self-exploration and healing. So please do look after yourself during this process. So as we kind of come into this space, it's really lovely to be here with you. what I'd like to do is I'd like to light my candle, which is really important for me as we're looking at the lightness and the darkness. As the twilight is emerging, I'm going to light a candle for us to create that space. I think it's going to hold that light for us. So if you want to light your candle, wherever you are, just to illuminate your own little sacred space and to create that time, then please do so. Okay, thank you, everybody. So if you want to go to that still, quiet space, wherever it is that you send your prayers, your blessings, your invocations, when you're about to go into that sacred space, if you'd like to close your eyes, go to that quiet, still space within. And I'd like to open this time that we have together by inviting all of those people, all of those unseen workers, our ancestors, those people who support our soul growth and our journey on this earth. All of those unseen beings that surround us, give us guidance, upliftment. You're welcome to this space. We would also like to acknowledge the presence of that divine spark of light that flows through all things, that sees all and is present in balance and perfect harmony in this world. We would like to offer a blessing of light on our work this evening. We would also like to welcome those parts of ourselves that have been shaped by our life journey, our family, our interactions with people. Welcoming all parts of ourselves to this space this evening. We honour you and we thank you for the ways that you have looked after that part of our soul spark that is trying and learning and growing. And so knowing that we're surrounded by that light, I'd like to leave this evening in the care and keeping of that grace. And so it is. Amen. Done. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to start off the evening with something that my family are very, very proud to have recorded. I started off recording a drumming chant because I'm very aware that my family are all in their bedtime routine in the house this evening. So I thought if I record it, I can get ahead of the curve and I won't have to physically play my drum live on a call. So Sass, if you'd like to join in, please do. Your microphones are off so you can sing your lungs out. Sing. Marilyn and Linda, you'll have to sing to each other. That would be wonderful. So this is a song, I'm sure you all know the words will be on the screen, but it's to raise our vibration, raise our energy and kind of open this space for sacred work.
We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain, flowing to the ocean. We all come from the love, and to love we shall return like a spark of fire, reaching for the open sky. We all come from the oneness, and to one we shall return like a ray of light, reaching for infinity. Hoof and horn, those who die shall be reborn. Corn and grain, those who fall shall rise again. Sage and crown, wisdom's gift shall be our own. Crone and sage, wisdom is the gift of age. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain, flowing to the ocean. We all come from the love, and to love we shall return like a spark of fire, reaching for the open sky. We all come from the oneness, and to one we shall return like a ray of light, reaching for infinity. Hoof and horn,
Hopefully you all enjoyed that one. That's a lovely little one to join in with. And thanks again to my two very, very enthusiastic children for joining in with that one. So as we're gathering around this virtual campfire in this lovely space that we've created, I have a very short reading. Oh, thank you. I have a very short reading just to celebrate this time of year and the equinox and the balance of dark and light. And this is called A Calling to Celebrate Your Soul Harvest. We turn to the west today, and Mother Ocean says yes. Her waves crash upon the shore, and she is ready, ready to receive you and take from you all the burdens you shall no longer carry into the seasons of acceptance and rest. We turn to the west today, and Mother Ocean says now. Her waters still at midday, as Father Sun casts his beams of light upon her and caresses her tenderly. She is ready to teach you how to be still and how to receive, so that you hear the messages of your elders, now as the veil thins. We turn to the west today, and Mother Ocean says, come. Her deep blue majesty is an open invitation to create better flow in your life. She holds the key to creation, manifestation, and rebirth. And she can offer you the path, the lightness of being, and the deep permission to be now. Your work of the year is done. We turn to the west today, and Mother Ocean says, let go. Her vast expanse and power can hold the things that weigh you down. Your worries can sink to her bottom or float away to the edges while you experience her embrace. She sees your fear and she washes it away so that you can live in pure, radiant joy and peace. Mother Ocean has been waiting for you. The guardians and gatekeepers of the West greet you today with open arms. Come, now, let go. Your work is done. So the season of balance, acceptance, stillness, and release can now begin. Amen. Aho, and so it is. Which I think creates the perfect energy now to talk about a goddess, a myth, a character who's always played a very important role for various reasons and for various stages in my life, which is the myth of the goddess Persephone. And as with all good myths, it's kind of evolved and depends on who's telling the story. So I'm going to kind of try to bring together different threads. But is anyone familiar with the Persephone myth? A couple of people are. Fantastic. I'll do my very faithful best to kind of retell it as I've experienced and worked with her over the years of my life. So the main thing to say about the myth of Persephone is that it's very much shaped by the people who are holding the pen and telling the story and the narrative of the culture at the time. So the general outline of the story is that the goddess Persephone is the princess of springtime and fertility, and her mother is the goddess Demeter, who is the queen of fruitfulness, abundance, and harvest, and making things grow, and nature, and she lives a very blessed life. She lives in the perpetual gardens, and she turns things to springtime wherever she walks. And her father was Zeus, so the god of gods, really, the emperor figure in the story. Depending on which version you come across, and there's increasingly more exploration into the actual character of Persephone and who she represents. But the story goes that she's skipping along, ambling along in a garden, and unbeknown to her, there's a pact made between her father Zeus and his brother Hades, who is the king of the underworld. As Hades was looking for a wife, and Zeus pretty much agreed that he would give Zeus his daughter as his bride. And this was done without the knowledge of Demeter, Persephone's mother. And so she's skipping and ambling around the garden one day. A big crack opens in the earth, and Hades, being pulled by his horses in a chariot, emerges from the underworld, grabs Persephone, and then sinks back into through the ground and takes her back to his dominion, the underworld, to be his queen. That's one version of the story. one version of the story of Persephone being a young maiden with her future ahead of her, who's cruelly taken and snatched from this world and taken to a place she doesn't want to be, away from the loving embrace of her mother. There's another version of this story, which is that Persephone was coming of an age where she was no longer content in the garden of perpetual springtime. Now she was growing into a woman, she was aware of the edges of her life and where she wanted to explore. She wanted to understand more about herself. And she was not content with the future that was laid out for her, and she was begging for adventure. So you see how there's some quite divergent tracks now that the story can actually go upon, depending on your frame of reference when you're listening to it. So the story goes that as Persephone is taken into the underworld and Hades makes her his bride, and she lives there, she becomes the queen of the underworld. Her name actually changes from Cora, which means maiden, to Persephone, which is the queen of the underworld. And she rules there alongside Hades on the throne as the queen of the underworld. And the story goes that she had many responsibilities in the underworld. She was responsible for welcoming people who had untimely deaths. She was responsible for healing warriors that were taken into the underworld. She had an awful lot of power and influence. Meanwhile, above ground, Demeter, her mother, understandably was beside herself, and she broke her heart crying, and there was perpetual winter and autumn, and she shook and railed against the stealing of her daughter, that all of the leaves fell off the trees, that she no longer graced the land with plenty and fertility, and things started to die and not prosper, and the world was submerged into perpetual autumn and winter. And she roamed the earth looking for her daughter. Now Zeus obviously was not happy at this, because he realized that the people of the earth all of a sudden weren't being protected and provided for by the gods, so he had to take action and do something. So it was suggested that Zeus asked some of his guides, helpers, messengers to go into the underworld to try and make a pact with Hades to say, come on, she needs to come back now, because we can't have the earth in perpetual autumn and winter, because the people are railing against us. They're no longer respecting our authority as gods. We need to do something about this. So the suggestion is that Hermes, who's the messenger god, descended into the underworld to seek counsel with Hades. So again, there's two versions of the story here. Either Hades so incensed that his word was, the word was gone back on, and the bargain that had been struck was going to be reneged, tricked Persephone into eating 6 pomegranate seeds. And of course, as everyone knows, if you eat anything in the underworld, then that eternally binds your soul to the underworld. So she fell into the first trap, and she ingested some pomegranate seeds, which meant that she had to return to the underworld 6 months of every year. And she was so delighted to get back to her mother that it was perpetual spring and summer for the 6 months. And then her mother broke her heart, and tears were shed, and the earth withered and died and fell into decay, where nothing would grow for the rest of the 6 months for autumn and winter, as she was taken back unwillingly to her husband Hades. The other version of this is that Persephone was enjoying her dominion of the underworld. She was enjoying pushing those boundaries and learning about herself. She was enjoying the challenge and the power. And she'd actually found love with Hades. He's one of the very few gods in any of the Orphic myths that actually stays faithful to his wife Persephone, just out of interest. The rest of them are doing horrendous things up there with the gods in Olympus. So she decided that she wanted to hold some boundaries here, that she loved her mother, but she wasn't going to come running back at her beck and call. So the other version of the story is that she willingly ate 6 pomegranate seeds so that she could choose to have the best of both worlds, that she could choose to go and be with her family and enjoy her family relationships and be in the sun and enjoy the spring and summertime. But at a time of her choosing, she could descend back to the underworld and live her life there with the person that she loved, and enjoy power and decision-making and authority. So I find it quite interesting that you can look at these stories from a number of angles, depending on which author kind of rewrites it, as it were. And I think she's quite a complicated character, Persephone. I don't think that there's as much value for me personally to constantly be in the victim mode, where she's just being dragged around between her mother and Hades and Zeus and all the various people that are dragging her around as a victim? Or actually, has she taken some power from her story and the unfortunate, terrible circumstances that she found herself in? And did she in some way use that to be able to make changes and to explore more of herself? So I find the story really interesting. Hopefully that was an interesting telling for you, people who haven't heard the story before. And I'd recommend to go and do a bit more research. There's an awful lot of research about all of these myths and different interpretations and different ways to explore and work with this goddess. She's especially relevant at this time of year, obviously, because Persephone is about that movement, the turn of the wheel from the spring and summer into the autumn, and when the earth starts to quieten down as we imagine her descending into the underworld. And the quiet time of the year for those people who celebrate the word of the year as we go then towards Samhain and then into the dark months of the year. So this really is a balance of dark and light, and Persephone I very much see as that balancing between the two worlds. So I'm going to ask you to do a little bit of work now, if that's okay with you. What I'd like you to do is we're going to set an invitation for you to go into a journaling space. And we're going to use the story of Persephone and whatever place in the story you kind of get hooked, because everyone will get hooked at a different place of the story that just kind of sits and lodges in their brain. I'd encourage you to just take some time. If you want to turn your cameras off, then by all means do that. If you want to sit, close your eyes and reflect. If you're a writer, then by all means scribble some things down. But I'm going to lead you into a quiet space where we can journey through a visualization down into the underworld, very beautifully and safely in that liminal space in our imagination. And then while we're there, being gently held, opening ourselves up, and I'm going to ask you a series of questions. So if you want to make yourself comfortable, please do so. If you want to turn your cameras off, please do so. And I'm just going to guide you and meet Persephone or whoever is going to be working with you. It might not be Persephone, it could be someone else who's decided to come and work with you in these quiet months of the year. So I invite you to close your eyes and feel into your body making contact with your seat, or your sofa, or your bed, wherever you're sat, making yourself comfortable. And taking a couple of deliberate, deep breaths. The first breath filling your lungs and your heart, swirling around your rib cage. And in your next deep breath, as you inhale, I'd like you to focus on pushing your tummy out, allowing your diaphragm to push its way down. With your next deep breath, I would like you to breathe into that pelvic bowl, a third cauldron, the place of our creativity and imagination. Just noticing your energy slowing. Feeling perfectly safe, acknowledging that any noises around you in the room. I'd like you to envision yourself walking along a woodland glade at around 6 o'clock in the evening. And it's been raining today, and you can smell the soil and the leaf litter. And around you, you can hear the birds settling into their roosts. You're aware that it feels damp on your face and your hands. And as you walk into the wooded area, become aware of a beautiful opening, a sacred grove surrounded by beautiful native trees. There's one particular tree that draws your attention. And as you walk towards it, you feel a calling. This beautiful tree is beckoning you to come and lean against it, or to press your cheek to its trunk. As you look down, you're aware of a beautiful root system of the tree. And somewhere from a place of deep wisdom, you're encouraged to sit at the roots, amongst the roots of this tree, feeling your back straight and supported against the trunk of the tree. As you're closer to the ground, you can smell the rich earth and decay and leaf litter. Aware of the small insects going about their business. You start to feel a deep comfort settling over your shoulders, as if you're wearing a very weighty blanket. It's pulling you down, making you feel safe and secure, and very comfortable. You become aware of the root network, and your eyes follow a particularly strong root as it meets with the earth, being made aware of your energy, sinking down, connecting, grounding with the earth. And you can feel the light around you getting dimmer. You feel yourself descending, following the path with the root, the life system of the tree. You descend downwards through the layer of leaf litter, through the rich earth, down through the stones and pebbles and flint, following the energy downwards, crossing crystals and gems and beautiful treasures inside the earth. Become aware of a beautiful energy, of a wonderful guide approaching you. This may be somebody that you know. It could be somebody that you're meeting for the first time. And in that heart-to-heart connection, you're aware that they are here to help you, that they know this terrain, they have done the work. You're in this space. There's an invitation. You ask your heart or soul, that higher part of yourself, what calls me? What is ready to awaken in this sacred darkness? Come instantly. It could be a drumming within your heart, something that you desire to do. There is no right or wrong way. It could be a recollection of an event that happened. But that you wish to spend some more time with. So the invitation here is, if you want to write, please do write, make a note. If you just want to stay in the space with your guide or helper, please do that. I'm going to play some music just to aid your reflection. Thanks, Sass, for the reminder. Thank you, Sass. Thank you. Well, there's plenty of time for you to carry on that journey and this process. This is only an invitation to start thinking, to come in and be embraced in that lovely energy of the underworld, that safe place to come and explore. And so with all things, when we talk about the balance of light and dark at this time, you can see that your guide is offering you a plate of something delicious. Be it pomegranate seeds or whatever it is that is your chosen treat. And so there's an invitation here, your next thought, your next exploration, your next journaling question is, where is Persephone, or your guide, your helper, leading you to address balance in my life? And where are there boundaries that need to be addressed? Where balance or boundaries? For me, this feels like a sovereignty question. The power to decide your own healing journey. And again, sit quietly or journal, whatever comes to mind. Take a deep breath. Breathe into the invitation in this quiet part of the year. That actually we're creating some space here, some space to address some things. You feel the strength of the resolve as you grip in your hand those pomegranate seeds, or whatever it is that you've taken as your token to become that person who's able to walk between the worlds, as many people do in their ministry, being with people as they're going through the difficult descent, but also being there to accompany the rising. And you know you have been called to this work. For whatever reason, you see the spiral, the flow, the balance. And you feel yourself being pulled upwards back towards the candle that we lit at the beginning of our time together. You're aware of a lightness in your being. You're aware of a power and a warmth surging through your body as you decisively ascend and emerge, feeling your body become more solid, emerging back into the roots of the trees, feeling your bottom on the ground, and you found purpose and courage. Do you become aware now of the sounds in the room around you, in your little sacred space, wherever you are in your home? Your thoughts becoming your own once again. And when you're ready, please feel free to open your eyes. Take a drink of water. Bring yourself back, balance yourself, take some deep breaths. And while you're reflecting on that journey, if you and there's no right or wrong way, so for some people this is a very straightforward visualization and they're used to visualizing and journaling after visualizations, but for some people this might be a new experience and you might be immediately thrown into I'm not ready to do that. So if that's the case with you, I probably recommend rewatching this when at a time and place where you feel comfortable, and just seeing who you meet and just be comfortable being in that lovely quiet held place in the arms of the earth. Hopefully everybody's here. It's definitely got dark wherever everyone is. So you're all sat, just some faces in the darkness. Wonderful, thank you. Thank you. We would normally do some kind of sharing or reflection for people who are comfortable doing that at this stage, but what we're going to do, if it's okay with you everybody, is that we're going to get to the point in this online process where we gently dim the space, close the space, and then we'll reopen it at a point for some sharing, if that's okay with everybody. Super, thank you. So this is a point where we're going to bring this energy to a close, knowing that it never actually ever closes. It never closes. We're always moving towards that light and that state of balance. But for now, I'd invite you to close your eyes, enter into that space of gratitude in that heart, beautiful heart energy. And just breathe into that for the moment. Thanking your wholeness for being here. Thanking your wholeness for all it has done to support you over your lifetime. Sending gratitude out to those people in our lives that may have come to mind during this work. Sending love or healing or compassion to those people. We would also like to thank the earth for supporting us and holding us during this time. We're witnessing your changes, Mother Earth and the moon, as you quietly descend into your quiet time, as the sap goes back into the earth to rejuvenation, knowing that it will be back again, that this is temporary and just one turn of the wheel, one turn of the spiral. And we honour all that that is. Until we meet again, we would like to send the energy that's been beautifully generated in this space out to the four corners of the earth, to anyone who needs healing or upliftment, or some prayer around them at this time. And so it is. Aho. Amen. And so I think this is where we say goodbye to our online people. Sass, if that's correct.